Hello people, it's part number 2. Let's imagine us walking around in ancient times and finding this oil well which was abandoned by some mining group of the ancient times. And we open this plastic nipple or whatever covers it, and we can see that the well is boiling. It's boiling inside and some type of gas is coming out. As you know, miners use different technology. This vertical drilling technology, it's mostly well known. There's also horizontal drilling technology, which lets us get more efficiency out of mining. But whatever you mine, you have to cement your well or channel where you take your resources from. Either it's gas or just crude or oil or whatever you call it. And as you can see, the soil has many layers, including groundwaters and so-called isolation layers, which are majorly look like clay or something like this. So if the system is very not much sealed, the water can come through the layers and attack layers that are above or close to the water pressure in well, because it's often used to increase the oil drilling procedures, right? So it's well known, and majorly all the oil companies right now that we know are located in Siberia, and most of the companies are located in northern parts of northern hemisphere, although we know a bunch of them in the southern one. But the northern one, and as you know, miners work pretty much a lot, and they have shifts and all this stuff, so they often get boring and playing with their equipment. But I don't think that they would be not using very good technique to seal the well or drilling well after they're done. So they have a bunch of technologies, and they not only screwing around while they have in shifts, they also follow some rules, some objectives, some I don't know, some orders of their bosses, and they follow some techniques of safety while sealing the well. So it's hard for me to imagine if they wouldn't be sealing it very good, because it would be a great problem for their companies to leave the wells unsealed. So why do we see those boiling gases there? Perhaps the technology is never changing. You have to create some works that checking the well, its sustainability, preservation, all this stuff that could be important while you sealing it. And you have so many different pipes that you have to put inside the well, so you can make sure that you're doing the right thing. You follow the rules, you follow the technique, they follow the technology of sealing after you're done, and you get paid a bunch of money, and it's a highly technological, very practical system, and people earn their money on it. If they can't seal the well of gas or oil drilling, they wouldn't be paying, they wouldn't be getting paid for that, right? And so in ancient times, if they were actually drilling and mining back then, I doubt it that they would be sealing their holes, their drilling holes, their wells. And probably they were using also this cement or some chlorine or lime solutions to feel the pressure that was taken by the oilers before them, so they can equalize the pressure of the well, so it won't be unsealed. And that's why they use all these different techniques of mixing stuff, and they know the formulas of how it's supposed to be working, right? And they're doing it step by step, and they're sealing and sealing and sealing and sealing and using the cement and all this stuff. And finally they do it, and they seal the well and make a safety cap on the side, and even put their signature. So just imagine that a bunch of those wells were looking like this, with the boiling gas inside, and looking very abandoned. It could be happening only if you cannot maintain your wells, if the technology is lost, if something happened before that the civilization of miners just left all this stuff like this, and you just have to manage and finally find a way to keep those wells out of reach of different groups like children and all this stuff, so they can, hurt themselves or maybe even explode, because it's a gas, it can burn and it can, create huge explosions. So what I'm starting to, follow this mining theory of the mud flood, I want you to listen what Senator Cruz was saying when he was trying to be a president-elect during the elections.
You advocate what you call carpet bombing or saturation bombing to defeat ISIS, citing the more than 1,100 air attacks a day the U.S. carried out during the first Gulf War in 1991. Explain how a strategy to defeat a standing army would work against an unconventional terrorist group that is now hiding amongst the population.
Well, sure. It starts with a commander-in-chief that sets the objective. And the objective has to be utterly and completely destroying ISIS. Obama hasn't started with that objective, and everything else flows from there. Once you set that objective, we have the tools to carry that out. The first tool is overwhelming air power. It is one of the blessings of the United States of America having the greatest military on the face of the earth, is we have the ability to use that air power. As you noted, the first Persian Gulf War, it was 1,100 air attacks a day. Obama is launching between 15 and 30. Now, when I say saturation carpet bombing, that's not indiscriminate. That is targeted at oil facilities. It's targeted at the oil tankers. It's targeted at command and control locations. It's targeted at infrastructure. It's targeted at communications. It's targeted at bombing all of the roads and bridges going in and out of Raqqa. It's using overwhelming air power. A couple of weeks ago, it was reported that a facility is open called Jihadist University. Now, the question I wonder, why is that building still standing? It should be rubble. And if you had a president, although I will say this, I would be willing to wait until freshman orientation before launching those bombs.
Senator Cruz, would you like to expand or loosen the rules of engagement? I was just over in a command center in Erbil, and they said they thought the rules of engagement worked because you have so many civilians in those populated areas. They don't want to hit civilians.
Martha, I will tell you, I have visited with active duty military, with veterans over and over and over again in town halls all over the state of New Hampshire. What we are doing to our sons and daughters, it is immoral. We are sending them in to fight with their arms tied behind their back. They cannot defend themselves, and it is wrong. And I will tell you this, look, America has always been reluctant to use military force. It's the last step we take. But if and when we use it, when it comes to defeating ISIS, we should use it. We should use overwhelming force, kill the enemy, and then get the heck out. Don't engage in nation building, but instead allow our soldiers to do their jobs instead of risking their lives with politicians making it impossible for them to accomplish the objective.
So what I'm trying to say is the war that was supposedly between the slashed eagle empire of Holy Romans and the Great Tartaria was supposedly in the favor of Holy Romans, which bombed the hell out of the Great Tartaria. And that's why these countries disappeared from the books, and this country is not well known. And what we know as so-called the information about Great Tartary came not that far ago. So you understand that. And what we know as so-called plug columns and all this stuff, just the representation of all those events that happened during those mining wells blowing up and throwing a whole bunch of mud and stuff in the air. So this is one of the theories that we have right now, and this is the working theory. In next part I'm going to be talking about the other one, the theory of the gas. So see you later. Bye.